My childhood at no point has ever been happy. I used to lie at night wishing that I was adopted and that my parents were going to come fetch me and take me away from this shit. Putting a child in a cellar for 4 or 5 hours at a time, locked away, cold, damp, no light. I'm screaming at the top of my voice. I just think the two of them were just sadists, full stop. This is my story from a very young age of living my life through physical abuse to living on the streets, getting in a cycle of drugs which took me to prison. I had to make a choice, and that choice was to either live or die. I first ran away at the age of 10. It took the police all day to find me. And I remember when they found me and they took me back home and they'd gone, I got the beating of my life. Just looking down the street now, you know, I hold so many of my memories of a child. This was our survival, knowing these areas and routes through and things like that. I can remember, but at home, in the house, all I remember is the beatings, the cellar. How this all came about, you know, me being on the streets, was a build-up of at school where I used to get bullied by the kids and beaten up before I'd go into class. I was quite glad, you know, when I got expelled from the school, because I knew then I didn't have to run that gauntlet and I wasn't going to get any more beatings. I remember coming home and I think I sat in the backyard for about an hour, 2 hours, just petrified to go into the house and tell her. And when I told her, she gave me the biggest whack across the face and said, "You're no good." And my sisters were in the house watching this all happen, and my sister's boyfriend. And she turned around to my sister's boyfriend and said, "Michael, throw him out of the house." And I pleaded and pleaded and pleaded my mum to not let this happen. She found out that I was sleeping in the shed and basically put a lock on the shed door. And I think that's when it really, really hit me. My first birthday and Christmas I spent here, in this house. When you're in an empty property with no heating, no nothing, it's, you know, things run through your mind, you know. Another reason for getting into the drugs, because it was very scary, and it took you away for a bit of a time. I was ashamed of taking the drugs, but I got into that cycle and I couldn't get out of it. These houses here, one of them used to be a crack house. There's a couple of the houses here where we used to go in and use needles and stuff. And the more I got into the drugs, the more violent I became. I was pushed over the edge. I was at that point. Then got caught by the police, sent me to prison. Loved to play table tennis. I like to think I was a very good table tennis player. And we used to always play, and I remember one day playing a lifer called George. You know, I didn't really know anything about George, and I beat him. And everybody looked at me and went, "You shouldn't have done that." Anyway, George came up to me, shook my hand, so we became friends. 5 months in, came up for a parole hearing, and George actually wrote my report, because you have to put a report in to say why should you be considered for parole. I put it in and got parole. 6 months I'd done. Went back to the cell, told George, and he come up to me in no uncertain terms and said to me, whack, straight across the face. He said, "Let me tell you, if you ever return here again, you're a dead man. This is not for you. Please hear what I'm saying to you right now." And I can still feel my jaw, you know, with the slap, because it was a slap. Yeah. George, he gave me the sign to not bother coming back. I didn't want to be frightened anymore. I didn't want to be bullied anymore. I felt that I needed to do something, because if I didn't, you know, I think the streets would have taken me. When coming off drugs, especially heroin, you know, the withdrawals can be lethal. I locked myself in a room, shaking, puking, sweats. And when I come through that was it. I said, there's no way I'm going through that again. So I just became fixated with training 2 or 3 times a day, 7 days a week. When I was training at Virgin Active in Derby, there was a sales guy going up to Sheffield. He said, "Why don't you come as a gym pro and get you a job?" When I got to #1 in the country in 9 months, they gone, "Wow, this is real passion." And people seen it, and that's why they came to me. But they knew I trained a certain way, and my clients know that, and they're told that before they start. I want people to feel my passion, and they will develop that same passion, and they're my family. That's something that I never had as a child. This is my life now, what I had to build, you know, to stay away from the drugs, and I'm very proud of my life. And I've got 4 great kids, fantastic grandson, you know, so yeah, I'm in a far better place now. I love life now, and all I want to do is help, because there was nobody there for me. And I think I'm very happy with that, because that's all I want to do, is just to help. And this is my extended family, so that's all I want to be remembered for.